know why, but my cat just loves to use the restroom as soon as I start recording. And he's loud. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this week's video is going to be my monthly reading wrap up. I haven't done one for my main channel video, I guess you could say. I did do a quick synopsis of them when I was doing my TBR, what I read in January, and then in another podcast episode I did my full February reading wrap up, but I never done a full video concept, you know what I mean, I haven't done a full structured video for monthly reading wrap ups. So this is going to be one where I smash up all three. So I keep all of my reading logs, I guess you could say, in this scrapbook. I got this for Christmas a few years ago, I think 2 years ago now, but I've covered it in so many stickers, and I just love this thing. I have a little bow on the side, but this is where I keep all of my pictures and scrapbooking stuff, but this is also, like I said, where I keep all my reading logs. All of my reading logs have been kept in here since I think July of last year, so I've been really on top of it. I never really started my actual book talk journey until January of 2025, as you guys know if you watched my last videos. So I've been really honing in and with my craft on them. As you can see, I've progressed a few months ago to where I really am just also crafting the little things. And also, I've never kept any of my goals except for when I was reading the Percy Jackson series, which I think is so funny. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started with what I read in January. If you don't know, I only read 3 books in January, and the reason why was because I was in a pretty big slump. When I was reading Fourth Wing, I was enjoying every second of it. I really liked this book series, the book, and I was really excited to find out that it was a series. And when I picked up Iron Flame, I picked it up right at the beginning of the month, so I was really excited to get into it. Obviously, she is a big girl. She is huge. She's almost, I think, 600 off pages. She is long, but unfortunately, she just did not hit it for me. There was a lot of just random unnecessary facts. All of the pining, the miscommunication trope in this book was evident to why it was so long, and it kind of just pissed me off. I don't think I'm ever going to pick up Onyx Storm because of it. I do think I'm going to hold on to these copies because I did enjoy the series when I first read it, and I don't know if I'm really ready to let it go. So in the following weeks, I only read 2 more books. You know, I already did a video on the Bridgerton books that I read, When He Was Wicked, and then I talked a little bit about I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This wasn't my favorite book. I do think I will reread it. I just don't know when. That is what I read in the month of January. In February, I read 4 books. One was an audiobook, and I will get into that in just a second. So first I read Then She Was Gone. I love this book. I never realized how controversial this book was going to be. Not in subject matter or anything, just a lot of people went into this expecting a totally different book, or they thought that the plot was pretty predictable. Though I fully agree with that, but I was really into this book because I let myself not fall into that it's predictable. I stopped myself. If you want a more in-depth version of everything I thought about half of these books, I will link it up here. I think it's on this side. I don't remember. Of my full in-depth podcast episode. But I read Then She Was Gone. I read my first Emily Henry book. I read Happy Place. I loved this so much. I already picked up, I think, 3 more of her books. I am missing Beach Read, which I'm trying hard to track down, but I'm not sure I'm going to pick her up anytime soon, unfortunately. But I really like this book. I loved the characters so much. The friends reminded me of my own friends in college, and it was just a really happy, fun story that I feel just took you on this roller coaster that I really, really loved. The last physical book I read in February was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Like I said, this book took me a while to get through. I did like the concept. I wish it was a little bit more expanded upon, but I really, really did like this book. Would I recommend it? Probably. I would say if you have it, read it. If you don't, but the cover intrigues you, go ahead. Just know that it's a little hard to get into, but I really did enjoy this book at the end of the day. And then I read my first dark romance, which is Lights Out. I really like this book like lights out thing, but I will post a picture of what the cover looks like here. I liked Lights Out. It made me laugh. It made me giggle. It was very smutty. It was my first like smut like published book I've read since like I think high school, when I used to read One Direction stuff. So I really liked this book. It was really funny. At the end of the day, it was really funny. I really did have to take myself out of it and like project that like this is not reality, this is not true, this is a book, because obviously if half the stuff that happened in this book happened in real life, somebody would be going to jail. But that is what I read in February. Now let's get into the actual meat of this video. So in March, I had a little bit of a mixture of every like thriller genre you could think of. I first started it off with The Housemaid Is Watching. I did do a reader skip series video on this specific series, obviously. So if you want to check out more of what I thought about this book, I will also link the video as well. But I did end up giving this book, I think, 3 stars. I think it was just one of the not the weakest, but obviously it's really hard to compare to The Housemaid itself, because The Housemaid was such a great book that this just really did not hold up its end of the bargain. And then I followed it up with reading my second audiobook ever. I read We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Again, this is my audiobook paper. I will show a picture of the cover. I really like this book. I've always wanted to read We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I did unfortunately watch the movie before I read this book, so I did kind of know where it was going. I did know the plot. I really liked it as an audiobook. I loved the person who did the voice acting for it, I guess you could say, or the narration. She had a really cool like smoky husky voice to her that I really did enjoy. I listened to it on my CD player, so it was like kind of just like sitting out there and I didn't have headphones in, so I definitely felt like I was living in this book with her. I liked the book. It was a little too long, unfortunately for me. It took me a while to actually finish it, but I did really like this book. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars, but only because I had already watched the movie, so I was kind of just basing everything off the movie, which I will stop doing from now on. But it did get 3 stars for me. Doesn't mean it was good or bad, it was just good. Then I finished another series, not continuously, but I read One of Us Is Back. This is the 3rd book in the One of Us Is Lying series. I will be doing a video about it sometime in the future, but I really like this book. It kind of just wrapped everything up for you perfectly with a bow at the end, because it had a lot of callbacks to the 1st and 2nd books. A lot of the characters that you liked in the last couple books are also in this one. It was a really big ensemble book. I really like that. I really like how this specific author knows how to handle huge ensembles in books. She makes sure that every single one of your character is being shown in the best way possible. And my favorite character in this series got her perfect and happy ending, so I was really happy about that. I don't know if she's ever going to release another one out of this, because I feel like she perfectly wrapped this up, but I really like this book and I'm pretty sure I gave it 4 stars. Then rounding off my month of murder, mystery, everything, I read The Good Lie. So I picked this up at my local library because I had never been able to find a physical, like actual copy out in the real world. I checked Barnes, I checked a lot of places, I could just never find this book. So when I saw my local library had it, I picked it up immediately. This had been on my TBR for a few months at this point. But I really loved this book. So this book is discussing about how a psychiatrist who specializes in people who have violent tendencies is caught up in a murder mystery kind of thing. She gets caught up in the wrong side. She has to help in a police investigation. She also has to conduct her own investigation. Another male character that is introduced, you believe is her love interest, is somebody who has maybe ulterior motives, you don't know. But I really enjoyed this book, and I was devouring this book. I loved every second of it. I could not put it down. Unfortunately, I did have to, because I was only able to read half of it one day, read half the other. But this book was so fun. It was exhilarating. It had you just on the edge of your seat every time you flipped the page. The ending was really good. The ending didn't have any sort of like ambiguous ending or something where you have to fill in the dots yourself. It was very cut and dry. This was a straightforward thriller that had you just all over the place, but also steered you right back on a course when you thought you were getting the correct answer. And then I loved the twist in this book. I unfortunately did see it coming within the last 20 pages when we were getting to that twist. I had already made it up in my head and I was like, wait a minute. And then it confirmed and I actually yelled. So I was really happy that I was actually like getting to the twist where I should have been in this book. And I think that's something a lot of books try to replicate, but this time I actually got it at the same time as you should have as a reader. You know what I mean? But with that, The Good Lie got another 4 stars from me. So that is everything that I read in this past 3 months, which I am astonished about. Once you actually put the amount of books that you read all together, you're like, oh my gosh, I actually read all that. Looking at this now, I cannot believe I've read that many pages in books and actually still want to read more. In total, I did read 11 books, which again, like I said, is so crazy to think about that some people like can either read 11 in 3 months or 50 in 3 months. And I still think that's a pretty big amount of books to read in 3 months. Again, I am a slow reader, so in the month of April, I have decided not to do a physical TBR like I normally would. I try to follow it as much as I can, but I realized in March that as soon as I like put that pressure on myself to like perform and read these books that I feel like are gonna get me the most views and get me the most engagement from people, it makes me feel like reading is a chore, and I don't want to ever see reading as a chore because, like I said, this is my hobby. This is something that I've always loved to do ever since I was a child. So now for April, I'm not doing a April TBR, like what I want to read in April. I'm just going based off of pure vibes. If there's a book on my shelf that has been collecting dust and I want to read it, I'll read it. But if I just bought a new book and I want to read that instead, I'm going to read that instead. So I'm really trying to allow myself a little bit more freedom this month of April. I want to see if I do end up reading more books or even less, seeing if I give myself more freedom if I do end up reading more, because I do want to hit my goal of I have a monthly goal of reading at least 5 books each month, and I know that's a little bit of a smaller goal than most people, but I love to read books just for my own enjoyment. So 5 is a lot for me in a month. Obviously, as you can see, I haven't hit that goal yet, so I'm hoping that in April that I do. But with that, all of these books are going straight back onto my shelf, except for the library book. Obviously, always return your library books. These are going straight back to the shelf. I don't know if any of these I will be rereading anytime soon, because if you guys haven't already seen my physical TBR shelf haul, not haul, but like all the books I have on my shelf video, you would know that I have a bunch of books to get through. So with that, I'm going to end this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If there are any books that I've read in the past 3 months that you have read, especially like Iron Flame or anything like that, please let me know in the comments and let me know how you felt about it or when you read it, because I really want to know what other people feel about all of these books that I've read. I know I talk about them all the time, and I promise this is the last time I'm talking about this 11 set of books. But I hope to see you guys in the end of April with my April reading wrap up with hopefully 5 books. But anyways, I don't have another shout out of the week. So if you want to be shout out of the week, be sure to comment down below, literally anything. Say I want to be shout out, whatever. I will pick you and I will shout you out in next week's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys read in this month of March. Well, last month of March, or what you are currently reading in April, or what you hope to read in April, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Except for the fire truck. Do y'all see this? I literally can't.